of it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been muted
So
for
short
the last,
form, Matt Gates' status is still bad. Israel's status, maybe Netanyahu's getting his butt kicked out finally after, like, everybody failing to make a goddamn coalition 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
This is the third broadcast across 2 computers where I've had somebody tell me that like the first 40 minutes of something has been muted.
Boy. Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Remind me to double check when we're streaming on Sunday then, Mac.
Yeah. Well, you're normally listening to the stream, so we didn't have that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, kids, we've basically had like 47 minutes where you heard nothing but silence, and we definitely apologize for that. But you know, what can you do?
How did we have so, how many?
His head against the wall.
How did we have so many viewers for so long?
I guess they're just want to have something in the background. I guess. I don't know.
Some of them were us.
Well, yes, that's a good point I was about to make. One of them is me. I'm assuming I guess all of it, or at least a good number of us, are having this on in the background. So it's like what, 2, 3, 4. So it's more artificial.
I don't suppose anyone was doing local recording.
I guess I'm going to have to start.
Probably, yes.
But you see,
as long as it won't kill your computer.
Well, here's the thing. It wouldn't have caught it anyway. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do.
Okay.
We're gonna continue on as if nothing had happened.
Too late for that.
No. We're gonna continue on as if nothing had happened, and I'll just edit the VOD so that it's only the last bit that actually has sound.
Okay.
Well, I already went over most of the things we talked about. We were just talking about how Amazon buying MGM is not a monopoly thing. It's, if anything, the opposite of that.
Right.
And whether or not it's a good idea remains to be seen.
I don't know why. I don't know why I did not notice the audio mixer not moving. I probably had a window in the way. I was doing some stuff with talking to actors in the background while you guys were duking it out.
That probably might be why.
Well, you know what? At least we know this conversation actually occurred.
Sure. Where's your proof?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have any proof. We might as well have been talking into a void.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Talking into space.
Professionally unprofessional podcasting for all eternity.
It's like MSP never died.
We're still very much amateur hour around here.
Somebody was probably making a musical symphony out of the order in which our lights were flashing on the. Using like little sound effects like ding 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 ding. Yeah, stuff like that. Oh, Lord. Uncolaman says it was pointed out to him that MGM has tons of unreleased footage of Trump saying questionable things on the set of The Apprentice.
Imagine the cameras were hot for a significant number of things that did not make the actual.
Now the question is probably going to be, because I do think that Mark Burnett, who runs the television division at MGM, is probably going to use this deal and walk out the door. Now here's the question. Does MGM own these tapes, or does Mark Burnett himself own these tapes? Because if Mark Burnett himself owns these tapes, he'll probably take them with him.
That would be fascinating.
Yeah,
or do they have some kind of weird joint custody that will result in no one actually being able to see them?
Well, that probably might be the case too.
So,
that's probably happening.
Oh, they can't be destroyed, but also you can't see them.
So if you're just tuning in, this is Last Newsdesk on the Left 20-minute edition.
Hyperspeed.
Speedball.
So yeah, we had this fabulous discussion about parliamentary procedure, and it was utterly lost. I was wondering why we weren't losing viewers.
I don't think we might have lost viewers over that.
I don't know. The last time we talked about British parliamentarian procedure, we ended up losing like 3 people. 2 of them were cast members.
probably it's probably because Israeli politics. Probably because our British politics is old hat at this point, considering we've dealt with Brexit for how many god-awful years.
Well, at least nobody can cancel us over anything we said about the Israeli-Palestine situation.
Or can they?
Right?
Well,
We did not actually say much about it.
yeah,
It's
although
like,
we didn't really
it's
say
like,
much.
yeah. Well,
didn't say
the
much.
joke's on you. I had my mini tape recorder here recording the whole thing.
No, we didn't.
It'll be a little,
But,
it'll be a little scratchy, but it's like I'm in danger.
So I guess if we can boil this down into bullet points, no January 6th commission because of a filibuster. At Gates is
In a weird sort of, we're not actually going to filibuster it. We're just going to threaten.
Let Kevin
won't.
let Kevin do the bullet points. We don't have time for this.
Sorry.
no, he's doing a fine job of filling out a bit in.
All right.
So there's that. Matt Gates' problems continue to rise.
Is he the dumbass?
Yes, because he's a dumbass and a somewhat caricature Florida man.
There's a campaign on Twitter now to name the worst Crayola colors after Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No, stop it! Don't give her that pleasure.
I thought that the best color for her would be clear and present danger.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be bad, but I still think that Marjorie Taylor Green is right there, and then just make it like a really ugly color, piss green.
My second favorite would be Canary in a Coal Mine.
Yes. That was dope.
Yep, Canary in a Coal Mine yellow.
Right. Bibi Netanyahu is possibly maybe 7 to 12 days away from not being Prime Minister of Israel anymore. Because of a grand coalition that is incredibly fragile and could go down at any possible potential minute.
Actually has Arabic representation.
Which is actually a pretty big deal.
Yep.
Yeah, which actually has representation from an Arab party, the Ram party. And after all of that, we've now moved into the entertainment section. We are talking about the Amazon purchase of Metro Goldwyn Mayer and how it is not a monopoly because Amazon only has Prime and has toes in every single area, but not in a big enough way to warrant antitrust concerns.
I mean, if
I
they
am somewhat worried about where in the warehouse they're going to keep the lion.
if they were going to be accused of monopolistic tendencies, then they would have tried to do a tandem buy of like Warner Brothers and MGM or something like that.
Right,
that might have been more sus,
That would have,
as the kids say.
Wait a minute, yeah, that would have been. Wait a minute, but yeah, you were talking about the lion. They already CGI'd him. There's no way to worry about that. And also, the lion.
Hey, listen. He's being cared for by top men. Men.
Yes.
No, that franchise is owned by, Paramount and Disney. It's complicated, and that kind of gets into the, one of the core complications of this whole deal.
It doesn't make the joke any less prescient.
Yeah,
that's a segue. That's a segue.
Okay.
No, a Segway is one of those stupid scooters.
Get the hell out of here. Go on.
The biggest,
the
biggest complication with this deal is a certain member of Her Majesty's government, aka 007, aka James Bond. Because the James Bond franchise is owned by a separate is basically stewarded
Eon Productions
by a company known as Eon Productions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this company and Eon has been very clear that it is very hesitant and very not much into the streaming game. Because I tell you right now, if they weren't as very hesitant and very stringent about it being a completely theatrical program here, I bet you money they already would have expanded the franchise.
Oh yeah,
So
you could easily do a Bond serial of some sort.
Yes, absolutely. So the situation is that for at least the upcoming film, which has been punted numerous times, one after another, No Time to Die.
Which is where this film is going.
Yes. This film is well, it's actually going to be coming out in the fall, at least for now. But it's meant to be the last film of the current era of the franchise where Daniel Craig is Bond. And this movie, if it stays in 2021, is not going to be affected by the Amazon deal because it's closing next year, right?
Right.
Well, and that gets to one of the that gets to the core headache for Amazon, because it's not just James Bond that's in this right situation, because on top of all that, you've got Sony on the distribution side. A lot of MGM stuff is tied up in one.
Did Sony re-up for the one going forward, or did they move that? Because I thought they moved that to Universal.
I don't remember. Or no, I'm thinking of the past one.
Yeah.
Sorry. But this is more to illustrate the problems with the MGM purchase on Amazon side. It's because they're already in contracts with several entities. Like, for example, new MGM releases are contracted out to Viacom, Paramount Plus. Several stuff is Netflix, HBO Max, because MGM hasn't been in the best of shape for a good long while and has had to scrape by. However,
MGM's been financially problematic for about a decade or so, 15 years.
So,
but even so, it still has productions with Leo and everything in multitude of venues.
So this is good for MGM in the sense that they don't have to worry about it being a zombie studio anymore, and Amazon will probably own a lot of the IP and might be able to create new stuff off of, say, RoboCop or Rocky.
Yeah, the biggest reason why the Amazon bought MGM, and the reason why the price tag is so high, is because of that IP library, which is pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's just
even if you take out Bond, it's still very substantial.
Don't they have a rather extensive library of monster movies and stuff like that? Isn't that what MGM's stock and trade was for a long, long time?
That was Universal.
Universal.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Universal monster movies.
Even if that wouldn't be part of the, because Warner Brothers actually owns the most of the pre-1986 MGM library.
Right.
Back from when Turner bought that.
Okay. It's complicated because Ted Turner bought MGM. I think it was 85, 86 from Ken Kerkorian. I think his name was. I think it's Ken Kerkorian. It's Kerkorian. But then Ted Turner realized, oh shoot, this company is massively in debt and I want nothing to do with it. So he sold it back to Kerkorian, but he kept the library prior to 1986. And of course Turner was bought by Time Warner in 95, and well, you go from there.
Yeah, the Turner Classic Movies, yada yada yada.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, actually, TNT and then Turner Classic Movies and Cartoon Network all came out of that deal.
Pretty much any station that had had three letters starting with T was somehow Turner's involvement.
Yes. Yeah.
TBS, TNT, and then later spin-offs like Spike and Man TV or whatever the fuck.
Turner was not involved with TNN.
No,
they weren't.
That was Viacom.
Okay.
No, they weren't
involved. The Nashville Network.
Yeah, it was the Nashville Network.
But definitely Spike.
Network, and it became Spike TV is Spike.
That was always Viacom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. TNN was bought by Viacom. TNN, the Nashville Network, became TNN, the National Network. Then TNN, the National Network, became Spike TV. And then Spike TV became Spike. And then Spike became the Paramount Network. And now it's going to become the Paramount Movie Network.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what to do with the networks that they have other than spew stuff on it.
Movie studios and television networks are always a complicated bit.
Which is the point we are elaborating here at this very moment.
Although, so to be clear, for the slate that they have for the rest of this year and into probably early next year before this deal closes, nothing changes.
Right.
Now, when this deal closes, we'll see what Amazon does. But of course, Amazon, already is in the entertainment game, so they pretty much probably have a good idea of what they want to do and how they want to do it, and we'll see what happens from there. But that's not going to be till next year.
Yeah, it's it's because Prime Video is in a weird place because it's considered to be like one of the top streamers, yet not, because it's like a lot of people have it, but they don't really use it. It's because Prime Video is a bonus
like
feature of
everybody's
having
third or fourth choice.
Yeah.
Well, it's because it's a bonus feature of Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime, but I never use it because I hate their player.
Yeah, there you go.
All of that money and they can't design a decent UI.
Well, if they put all their money into designing decent UIs, they wouldn't have as much money.
Literally.
He's just howling.
What?
My cat is just sitting at the door, just going, "Meow, meow, my dick is itchy.
Is it bad that I can't hear his microphones?
My nuts are fuzzy."
Anyway.
Welcome to our very professional Twitch channel.
Very professional. Very professional. So,
Never mind the 40 minutes of lost footage.
The 40 minutes of silence where basically you could put on elevator music and it wouldn't matter.
We'll get a copyright strike for playing The Sound of Silence. Wait,
Oh God.
No, we just gotta find a MIDI crap, cover and put it on. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah, get some of that great free music from Twitch that always triggers DMCA takedowns. Use this music in your videos.
I can sing off key for a couple of minutes and then you can loop it.
I would rather bash myself in the crotch with a frying pan.
Now.
Just cook something up off an app and we can figure it out. Anyway, well, I guess. Do you think we've done enough?
Have we done enough damage? Well, I guess I could talk about my film for a few minutes.
I have no idea how the Animaniacs are going to get out of the friggin' water tower if they get rid of the Warner Brothers logo and replace it with that stupid Warner Brothers Discovery one.
Get out of here!
Also, it kind of implies that the Warner Brothers are discovering something, which I don't know what they're discovering, except for not how to design a logo.
Themselves. Wait, no.
I don't think we've talked about that, have we?
No.
Good Lord.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I just wanted to get in one jab at that.
I'm sure they'll make an entire 12-episode season out of taking jabs at that.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about that next week.
All right, let me talk about what's going on with the film, since everything that was at the beginning of the episode is now lost.
One thing, it's a film again.
Yes, that is actually a significant distinction, because we were attempting to turn it into the first 2/3 of a 12-episode season of Starship Moonhawk, and that did not work out. You can't see me giving the thumbs down, but yeah. I've actually gone through. I have in my hand here the new call list for all of our actors, and I was able to maintain a rather large number of people from our original cast into this film, and I cast a few new people. We welcome Aurora G as Arlena to the cast of this movie, and Sidney Miles as Commander Gellerman, replacing Julie Shields, who's gone unresponsive. And of major note, Richard Epcar will be in the film as two characters. Chief Hakra, the tribal leader of the Mercadian village, and Grand Admiral William Eubanks, who is a kind of mysterious and shrouded figure in Starship Moonhawk mythology, as he is sort of he's there's only two Grand Admirals in the Starship Moonhawk universe, and they hold a rather enigmatic position that in some ways supersedes civilian authority. In other words, they're beyond reproach. They've been part of the Star Alliance machine since it was formed 500 years ago. Him and Grand Admiral Nora Circe. So they're sort of a yin and yang situation to where they have very, very differing views on how things should be handled. And they basically have sort of divvied up the Star Alliance into two halves that each one controls. And so this character shows up every once in a while to dispense wisdom and knowledge and basically keep major characters in the Starship Moonhawk franchise from committing unintentional seppuku.
Had to get one more in there, didn't you?
What? Oh, someone talking to me. And so it's like I said. I explained it. I said this character is here very briefly, but that's on purpose. This character is used very sparingly because he has a tendency to be a sort of God mode type character. But yeah, there's kind of a backstory about the power struggle between these two characters. And it turns out.
It sounds like his two characters are probably not actually going to be speaking to each other.
Well, no, not.
Yeah, the other one is a tribal leader.
No, the two characters I was talking about, Circe and Eubanks.
No, I know that.
They won't talk. I don't know. Maybe they would see each other at the end of the episode, but I don't really want Richard talking to himself, so we'll avoid that.
Yeah.
We'll avoid that meta-ness.
Yeah, that'd be awkward.
Yep.
It happens all the time.
Other major people of note, of course, that I've reconfirmed, of course, are Chris Patton of Full Metal Alchemist fame and Full Metal Panic fame, I might also add. The guy's got a resume longer than my arm.
Get a longer arm then.
Well, you know, and is sort of a luminary figure in the industry, so I'm really excited to continue having him as a main cast member, and of course we've got Caitlin French, and our good friend James Larrabee will be returning in his turn as our diabolical villain, Torrance Coulson. So it's a lot of really big stuff happening, and we actually are working with new animators and trying to onboard somebody into our studio's methodology, which is kind of an interesting mix of traditional animation using open tunes and Archer-esque techniques in After Effects. So it's a combination of digital, traditional animation, and completely digital magic tricks in the editing software. And I need to get my hands on some rather pricey plugins in order to make this whole thing work, because I'm actually hands-on with the editing and development, like with the series Covert Ops. So. As Kira said the other day when we were talking about this with some of the major players, we're doing an all or nothing deal. It is no more of this half-assing it with, well, you know, we'll pull in this asset from this thing, and it's like, no, we're going to either make it good or we're not going to make it at all. And as she's co-directing this film, as well as co-executive producer, that authority has been granted to make these demands. So you'll be seeing some stuff real soon, because the first third of the film, we have almost all of the dialogue. I did recast a couple of people that I need to get the money together for, but once we do that, then we should be able to put out the first third of the film within a few months. and we will release it in 3 segments instead of the original proposed 7. And we also have a lot more, I would say, a lot more visible people in the industry working on the crew as well as the cast, which I've narrowed down a bit for cost purposes. But David Stahl will be returning to help us bring Jared's original soundtrack, which was ostensibly written for this movie over the course of 6 years. We'll actually put that into play the way it was supposed to be used, with the scenes that it was created for, which is kind of exciting. And then we'll fill in some gaps with a little bit of Filmster stuff, and then what David's going to do is he's going to weave it all together into a coherent tapestry, so that we have a unified soundtrack that sounds like it was made by the same people working in tandem. So instead of having this piece from this composer and that piece from that composer and so on and so forth, he's going to take all of the existing tracks and basically refresh it, make it anew. So the Chrysalis theme and all the things that you've heard on the sound, and the the introspection theme and the battle themes and things like that you've heard in the unofficial soundtrack CD that I released 5 years ago, will now become official. So we're pretty excited about that, because I definitely want to be able to try to put out another album through like Apple Music or something like that, and through Create Space or Amazon, whatever the fuck they're calling it now, Amazon Music. I guess.
Amazon Music.
Yeah. I want to be able to actually, for nostalgia purposes, because Starship Moonhawk has always, and this was especially driven home by our late lamented artist Tanabata Usagi, has always been intended to be retro kitsch from the 80s and 90s sci-fi. That amazing, incredibly, obscenely detailed sci-fi anime of the 80s and 90s. So it is a truly heartfelt loss that she passed away, because it was like the perfect confluence of events and aesthetic, and it will not be easily duplicated. But as I said earlier, the good news is that our buddy Oshi, aka Henderson Suarez, is still here, and he will be helping us build new character models for the animation sequences, so that way we have a unified appearance again, instead of a mishmash of 16 different artist styles. And Kira right now is working on modifying some of the models to bring it somewhat in line with Usagi's aesthetic. So it's going to be very exciting to see. We have a lot of really important stuff happening, and of course, if you're a patron, keep in mind this story is my magnum opus, and Adam will attest to this. He's been here almost since the beginning of the Mercadian affair.
I lost track of the changes.
Adam came in when I was still with the Lounge, working with John Joseko, and
I wish I had people to talk about my original properties, but I have no prospect of ever actually making a story out of them. So,
well, I mean, the part that's most shocking about this is we are now talking 19 years.
Yeah.
2002. When Adam and I crossed into each other's world. And yep. So all of this that we're doing today is possible because of a weird chance encounter, to where I exposed him to my characters, and then he started critiquing my stuff as well as John's. Although
sounds about right.
Although I have to say that Adam was far kinder to my work than he was to John's.
That was several lifetimes ago.
Well, also, the evidence was in that I was trying much harder.
Oh yeah.
You know, the quality of my writing was vastly superior, to put it mildly.
Yeah.
So,
Does JJ still do stuff?
oh yeah. The hell is it called? Something of Salamanstra. The
Warriors, I want to say?
the Hunters of Salamanstra is still ongoing, apparently. God only knows why.
Forgot to end it.
I think the artwork still looks about the same as it did 20 years ago.
That's impressive, actually.
Well, it's cleaner because it's digital now. It's not, Uniball on lined paper.
Anyhow.
On typing paper, 99 cents over at Office Depot. Got a 500 pack. Oh, boy.
Office Depot or Staples?
Well, in San Diego, it would have been yes.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, it was your little nostalgic moment there. But yeah, this marks the 20th anniversary. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the Mercadian Affair. As a matter of fact, if I am remembering correctly from when I started releasing this online in 2001, today is the 20th anniversary of me putting it online for the first time.
Oh man.
Today, as in yesterday, for everyone east of you.
Yeah. Well, no, 6301.
Yep,
Okay.
that's officially today here in the eastern United States.
The website's been up since December of '99, but as far as the official comic is concerned, the Mercadian Affair started its first iteration in I think it was either. I want to say that I started doing something with it in May or June of 2001, and then the Adventures of Malaya, which will soon become Cosmic Feline, started in May 29th, 2002. God, it's been so long. But you know what? There is no timetable on your dreams, That's for sure. All right. On that nostalgic note, I think that's a good point to end. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. I will be doing Honkai Impact the 3rd here on the channel. And of course, Adam, why don't you go ahead and reiterate what's happening with Fragments for the next couple of days?
Yeah, so we have a Friday show that's happening at 11 o'clock a.m. 8 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 5 p.m. Central European time. It's the daylight interviews because we either have usually a European guest, sometimes a North American guest who can only do it during an interview during business hours. This week we will be talking with Movie Games again because we had them on the program recently and we actually didn't get to their games. It was a good conversation, but it was more about trends and localization and difficulty getting your games in certain countries. So fun stuff.
All right.
And that's it from my corner.
I'm putting links in the chat for a change. And then, of course, very, very importantly, this week, if you follow me on Facebook, whether you follow me directly or you follow my page, Mac Paladin's Retro Gaming Emporium, or even the Starship Moonhawk official page, very importantly, we will be officially starting the first episode of Drakengard 3 for the PS3 on Mac Paladin's on Micaiah Paladin's Retro Gaming Emporium. That's important distinction because Micaiah Paladin's Retro Gaming Emporium is our Facebook branding, and Mac Paladin's Retro Gaming Emporium, of course, is our branding here on Twitch. And that will be right here. For those of you who do not already follow me. And so I'm very excited about that. That will be Friday at 7 Pacific. So that's 10 o'clock on the East Coast. I figured that's an appropriate time because that'll put us in prime time considering how fucked up the Drakengard series is.
Oh, yes.
Wait till it gets near everybody.
Yeah. Well,
this is Drakengard 3, you said?
Indeed. Yes. Oh? Why?
No, it gets pretty messed up pretty fast.
Yeah. Zero is quite the character, isn't she? Whereas the previous two games in this series are amusing kitsch with a healthy supply of murder porn, Drakengard 3 is all murder all day.
Because Yoko Taro is fucked up in the head.
Yep. And if you're interested in following a Nier installment, Varias is playing Nier Automata on her channel at twitch.tv/Varias, VERIAS, and I will type that out in a moment for those of you who are still here. She will be playing that on Friday at 5 Pacific. That's Varias Plays Games on or Friday stream. What the hell do you call your show on Friday?
Live Gaming Fridays.
Live Gaming Fridays with Varias on here on Twitch TV. She will be playing Nier Automata. So
fuck you, Mac.
So it's it's going to be Nier at 5, and then Drakengard 3 at 7 if you're willing to switch channels. But yeah, very exciting stuff. And of course, more Overwatch failure on Saturdays. So yeah, lots of great programming coming up, and something on fire, Kevin.
Yeah, y'all dropped out off the thing. I had to switch next.
All right, so yeah, lots of great stuff coming up. So we hope you'll tune in and check in with us. If you haven't already, please hit the follow and the bell so that way you can get notified of updates to this channel. We do pretty strictly follow our schedule around here. Usually only at most a quarter hour late before we get started each and every week. So, yeah. And hopefully we won't have any more audio issues.
You had to open your mouth.
Well, Potato would be proud. All right. Let's see. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Last News Desk on the Left. I'm your host, Mac Paladin. On behalf of the crew here, thanks for watching. Stay safe out there, kids.
Stay safe, y'all.